University. She also holds a certification in the care of adult medical and surgical patients. She is a wife, mother, and born again child of the Most High King.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Family Health Matters. I'm your host, Wendy Bridgers, and we are live here in the studio on Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. We invite you to join us every Thursday from 3 to 3:30 for Family Health Matters. And today I have a familiar face back with us in the studio. We're going to pick up on our part two of what we talked about the last time. So, Kiara Robbins, thank you so much for coming back to join us. So glad to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I always love to come in and talk and promote exercise and encourage everybody to get active as much as possible.
All right. That is great. And if you want to join in on the conversation today, if you got some questions that you want to ask Kiara, she is a licensed wait a minute, let me get all these these titles together. Clinical exercise. Wait a minute now. She's an exercise physiologist.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure. And she's certified in Zumba training. And she's a personal trainer, and I know that personally. She works, and she's just got so many acronyms going on. But what I do know is she does have a passion for people, and she have a passion for health and wellness. And she has a lot to share about exercise. So if you want to join in on the conversation today, please feel free to call us at 252-756-2008. And you can join in on the conversation. So Kiara, welcome again. And last time we were talking about making time for exercise.
Yes.
And we need to, and you gave some really, really great information about simple ways that we can incorporate exercise in our daily routines. And that is almost just as important. Well, it is as important as our mental health and our physical health is to get that exercise piece in.
Yes.
So today, I think we want to talk a little bit about how we can bring this home a little closer to home, because somebody was talking to me and they were saying, everybody can't afford to go to the gym. And I said, that is correct. Everybody can't have a personal trainer. So what can we do if we are at home, but we want to do some constructive or professional exercises? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, exercising at home. And Kiara's going to be telling us some things, the tools that we have already available at home, some really good exercises, and what these exercises are consistent of, and what parts of the body they will work on and to help develop. So she's got a whole lot of stuff to share. So You're going to hear me little on this show, because unless I think of something, then I might just jump in. But I'm going to let her roll with it so that we can get all of this information in our short time. And if not, then we just got to keep bringing her back.
Yeah.
So Kiara, it's on you now. Tell us a little bit about exercising at home.
Well, the first thing I always want to mention is exercising at home. The thing that you could always do is walk. Walk is very important in just our day-to-day lifestyle. So if you walk daily, adding additional 15 minutes to your daily routine of actual purposeful walking. So we're not just talking about walking to the kitchen and coming on back. We're actually talking about scheduled time to walk outside or around the house. Overall, you're going to actually burn additional 100 calories just by making that time to walk for that 15 minutes. And when it comes to the walking, you have an improvement of your overall health. Your aerobic fitness is starting to improve. You're going to also help relieve stress. You will also get the satisfaction of just establishing time for yourself. So walking can never go wrong with. And like I said, you can walk around the house. You can walk up and down the stairs. You can walk in the neighborhood. You can find a park that you can walk in. If you're lucky like us here in Greenville, you have a greenway that you can walk down. And if you can find a group of people to do this with you, it turns into a more of a fellowship where you have a group of people who are doing this with you, taking this journey along with you. So I always encourage, if you can, individual, but it's always better to have somebody with you.
Okay.
just so that way you have the additional conversations. You have somebody just also giving the encouragement that you need. And then also the mental part of just having somebody to keep pushing you to the next level. But walking, you can never go wrong with it. But items at home, a lot of times we forget our whole house can be a gym. So
Yeah.
first thing I mentioned was stairs. And, maybe if we don't have stairs at home, we typically, some of us have stairs outside, going in and out the garage, go up and down those stairs, working on those quads. So those muscles that are in front of the legs. Then as you're coming down the stairs, working on those hamstrings and the glutes. We want to keep our glutes right for the summertime now. So going up and down those stairs, forwards and backwards, doing our side steps up and down those stairs as well. Little things like that are very beneficial. And also it helps us in our day-to-day living. That's the most important part. We want to improve our health, and how can we improve our activities on a day-to-day basis? So lunges. We don't think about how often we lunge throughout the day. You got to go pick up an item off the ground. Technically, you're lunging down to the ground, and making sure those muscles are strong. So walking lunges in the household, that's perfectly fine. You can do that. If you feel that maybe I don't like lunges, not everybody likes lunges. Okay, grab the countertop. Go ahead and do squats with the countertop. That's holding on, arms that are fully extended, and do about 10 to 15 reps 3 times. You're going to feel good after that.
So now tell me now that I know what they are, and just in case, you remember I prepped you that I was going to tell you, and I know we're on the radio,
Yes.
but describe, just in case somebody says a squat. We think of the squatting down to pick up something.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about the how
lunge.
and that works. Yeah, and the lunge.
So for example, if we are lunging, typically we have one foot that is extended in front of us, and we have our other leg is behind us, and we actually take our right knee and go straight down to the ground. And that is going to just help reduce a lot of pressure on our knees. We want to make sure we have proper form. It makes us work on our core in the process. And you just come down to the ground, grab your object, and you come right back up. For a squat, your feet are about hip width apart. You have your arms extended if you're using the counter, and then you're going to, as if you're sitting down into a chair, and then you're going to come right back up, or use a chair. Sit down into that chair, get right back up. Those are another way to do the squats there too. Push-ups, using push-ups as an example as well. You use your countertop. You place your hands about shoulder width apart. You go ahead and decline towards the countertop, and then you're using your chest muscles, your biceps, your triceps, and you press yourself away. And this is going to be very beneficial just on a day-to-day basis, picking and moving items up as well. There's so many different tools that we actually have at home. Milk jugs. If you don't have a whole bunch of milk jugs at home, I know we got some canned items somewhere in that house that we can grab one too. It may not be heavy, but if you give yourself a good amount of reps, doing maybe 20 to 25 reps, so actually perform the movement 20 to 25 times, and then you rest and you perform it again 2 to 3 more times, you're going to see the benefits after a while. After a while, just using your arms, it starts to burn. Just doing overhead press where you're pressing the arms straight above the head, and you're coming right back down to about your ear height, and you press it straight back up. Doing that about 25 times, it starts to burn after a while. We realize our arms start to get heavy.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. So is it important to the repetition to do it?
It does vary. Depends on what type of, how much weights you have.
Okay.
So if you're doing a lighter weight, higher reps are going to be much more beneficial.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And then the heavier the weights are, then you want to go a little bit less on your reps and less on your sets. So, for example, if I had dumbbells at home and I was doing a chest press, which is when you're laying on your back and you're pressing that weight out from your chest area back down, you would use maybe, I would say 10 to 12 reps. But if you're doing this with just body weight, with just your arms, maybe pushing those reps up a little bit more. So about that 20 to 25 instead.
Okay, good. Okay, because I was thinking about trying to figure out how many times do I need to do it to have benefit from it.
Well, and it's going to vary. So,
Okay.
but at the most important thing is listening to your body. We might, as a exercise specialist, I will encourage you to do 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15. If you're like, not doing that, you listen to your body. Your body will let you know when it is fatiguing. And the most important part is also listen to your body after you exercise. Okay. So if you're noticing that, you're walking around the house and you're if you see that you're starting to get fatigued a little bit quicker, or you're starting to get shortness of breath, kind of making notes of that. So when you go to your doctor, or you talk with an exercise specialist, or you come and log in on here with us, maybe we can kind of help you, kind of guide you into the right direction of how to correct that or how to fix that. But what if you don't have weights, or what if you're not interested in general movement of grabbing the tools such as the milk jugs or water jugs or anything? Isometric exercises are just as beneficial. And what I mean by isometric exercises, thinking of just squeezing the muscle and then releasing. So you squeeze and then you release. Typical exercises that we think of this is planks. So nobody likes planks, but they're really good because it helps strengthen and improve the endurance of the muscle. And what we say by endurance is allowing the muscle to go longer for a longer period of time, if that makes sense. So for example, if I was to do a wall sit, I could do a wall sit by placing my back against the wall, bending my legs about 90 degrees, and I hold that for about 30 seconds. If I was to do that 3 times, that's about equivalent to doing like 15 squats. So that's a good alternative if we don't want to do the squats instead.
Okay, that's good.
Even planks, like I said, you could do this at home. You can get all the way down to the ground. If you don't want to get down to the ground, use your counter, use your couches, whatever.
Now, what's a plank?
So the plank is when you it varies. It varies. So a plank is when you extend your body to you're fully extending your body out straight. Typically, we go down to either our elbows or onto our hands. It kind of depending on what your preference is, and you're just holding that position as if you're in a push-up position.
Okay.
Just hold that position for 30 to 60 seconds, and during that time, it's going to be the longest 30 to 60 seconds, but it's really beneficial to your whole entire core. And when we say core, we're talking about our abdominal area, and we're talking about our back, our pelvis, our glutes as well.
So now, and I was going to ask you about for you to tell us what these are. But now, so in class, you always say, or the instructors always say that there's always an alternative. So suppose I can't do a plank, that I can't get down all the way on the floor and do this straighten out this really impressive push-up. So what's an alternative that would give me the same benefits?
So alternatives, typically we start to modify this. If you can't get all the way down to the ground, using something like a couch or a chair. If you're using a free chair, like a fold-out chair, always recommended pushing up against the wall, because it does take a while to get used to the motion of actually pressing down to the ground. And typically we end up pushing our chair. So always push it up against the wall. Okay. And what you would do is start with your arms fully extended, and then you will bring your hips down so that way you're straight and you're flat as if you're about to do a push-up against the chair. You could hold that position for about 30 to 60 seconds as well, and you will feel the benefits from that as well. I also have individuals who also have complained about their wrist hurting. My wrists start to hurt. What do I do if my wrists start to hurt? I don't want to do this plank, Kiara. This is hurting my wrist now. You can always grab onto weights if you have some, or grabbing onto the side of the chair and making sure your wrists are straight instead of having them flex, because I understand after a while our body weight starts to get heavy. So holding onto the side of the chair will also help with that too. And then you start to get strength in your hand grip strength and your forearms as well. So we get a lot of benefits when it comes to that.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I'm motivated. Okay.
There's always a way, I promise. I tell people how to do it in the pool too. Just because we're in the pool doesn't mean you can't, if you have a pool at home or you have a pool in the backyard. I know typically we have noodles. Take those noodles, same thing, push that noodle underneath the water, having your arms straight.
What's a noodle?
A pool noodle. I don't know how to I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a pool noodle.
That long thing.
That long cylinder pool noodle. You get it from you can get it from Walmart, the Five Below. That's what they named as. But it's a flotation device. You can put it that way.
Okay.
And you're just pushing it underneath. I mean, it doesn't have to be a noodle, but it could be buoys or whatever you can that helps you stay afloat. And pressing underneath the water and holding it into that position is just as beneficial for that core as well. So it's just another example of how we can take something that we see on TV or we see on these videos. And a lot of times we're like, well, I can't do that.
Right.
There is always a modification. It's just a matter of knowing or having somebody tell you of a way to modify. And I never thought about it that way.
And that's important because we look at things and we see people doing things,
Mhm.
and you're so quick to say, well, I can't do
I
that.
can't get on the ground. Or I can't do this.
And so then you go, okay, well, if I can't do it, then you just go on to something else instead of trying to figure out a way of how can I modify
yes.
this. So that's a good point. That's why I wanted us to talk a little bit about that, because exercises that we see professionals doing, and you see all these shows and people are doing all these professional exercises and all this stuff on Facebook, and you're just like, I can't do that.
Going through those Facebook reels or those
Yeah,
Instagram reels,
yeah.
and everybody's doing all these fancy movements or have these fancy tools. And in reality, we have a lot of items that are at home. I had an individual one time, I was showing her how to do a squat with a kettlebell. And a kettlebell is just another tool that we use where the weight is in the middle of the actual weight instead of it being distributed like in a dumbbell.
Mhm.
And she was like, oh, you know what? I could get a bag of flour and put it in a shopping bag. And I got a weight.
That's great, because it's a 5-pound bag.
It
yeah.
is a 5-pound
Oh wow,
bag.
that is good.
So
That's good.
Take that 5-pound bag. You could do arm curls. You could do overhead press with that weight. You could do side bends. You can do a whole bunch of other exercises. So yeah, you might get on YouTube and these people might have these fancy tools. Well, you go into the kitchen, all those tools are in there. You can go ahead and grab them, and it will be very helpful. And you could perform those movements as well right there.
Yeah, that's
right
good.
at the house.
Right at the house, and you don't have all this, the expense of the gym, and if you are a person who don't like to go out,
yes,
and be in a crowd, and some people are still a little timid, or maybe don't want to be in a gym setting yet.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, and so this is an alternative to that, to be able to make I love the idea about the flour. That is pretty cool.
It was a great idea. Definitely a great idea. I didn't even think about that myself.
I know. Yeah. So we have to market that.
Right. Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this. I know that we always talk about in class and everything, that we always talk about stretching and stretching before and stretching afterwards, warm ups and stuff. So how important is that when we're doing our own gym at home?
Absolutely. In reality, we have different kind of like, as an exercise specialist, we focus on different aspects of the body. So we have the strength part, which we kind of just discussed, where we want you to get the reps in lifting weights, actually having basically a force against the body to help build the muscle up. And then we always talk about cardio, which is cardiovascular, so improving the heart in that way. Another thing that we also focus on is the neuromuscular part, which is a lot of times it's going to be balance, agility, things like that, where it helps us with our reflexes. And then we also talked about flexibility. And flexibility is just as important, because you want to make sure before you exercise, your muscles are warmed up, because that's going to help. If you don't have it, you have your muscles warmed up, is going to increase your chance of injury. So walking prior to, so now we get the benefit of warming up and the cardio.
Okay, good. Yeah.
And it's going to just allow the muscles to kind of get the blood flowing, so get prepared for the actual movement of what you're about to perform. If you are at home, high knees, so lifting the knees up to about hip width, that's just as beneficial. If you're doing stuff sitting down, marches sitting down, that's just getting the blood flowing, getting things, your body moving. That is what we want. So when we warm up, we want more dynamic movement. So something that's going to increase blood flow. And at the end, we want you to fully stretch. So holding the stretch. So if I have my foot extended and my toe is up towards the ceiling and I lean forwards, stretches the back of my leg and a little bit of my glutes here. And that's just going to help release some of that tension that we just performed during that workout. So you want to do that after, so that way you don't end up with the cramps and too much of the lactic acid build up in the muscles and things like that. But also what's also important is what you're eating after.
Oh, okay. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So typically I always recommend before exercising to always give yourself something like a light snack. Don't come in working out with after having a huge breakfast. We just went to Cracker Barrel or IHOP. I don't want to do that. A light snack, so something like applesauce or Pop-Tart, something that's going to give you sugar, that's going to give your
Okay.
body enough energy to actually perform the movement. But after you exercise, you're in a recovery phase and you want to have protein. So the protein shakes are fine. Having a light lunch is fine with something with some form of protein. So it could be a salad with chicken on it, or you go get a shrimp taco, or I'm just naming different items. But those things like that is help better for recovery.
Okay.
So your body metabolism is still up high enough that the muscles will be able to use that source of energy quicker and actually help repair the muscles
Okay. So some form of sugar
prior to
and then protein after.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know,
Man,
because you think about if you got to eat something, but I agree, a heavy breakfast probably wouldn't do a good thing.
Now,
To make you sick during the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes and then I personally always encourage it. You don't want to do the direction if you're not eating before you get to work out, especially if you don't have enough source or carbs stored. So that's where we could talk about that definitely another time. But it's important of what you're eating. It helps with your performance as well. So that is a huge impact as well.
So you do need to eat something before you go work out. You need to have some breakfast or something, or a snack before whatever time it is. Okay.
Because you're going to perform much better that way.
Okay.
So if you're looking at performance wise, where I'm going to the gym and I get so tired when I start working out. But then by the time you finish your workout, you're like, oh, I'm awake now. And we feel so tired in the beginning because our body doesn't have the direct source of sugars to use to start the workout. By the time you finish it already has gone through these different cycles in the body, and it's like, oh yeah, I got the sugar now. Oh, you're stopping? Well, so it's one of those things where we want to, for you to perform the best, you want to kickstart the body, kind of get that jump start and get your car warmed. You won't hop in your car without warming it up in the wintertime, right?
That's true. That's
you
true.
Get the car going. And so you want to get the body going. So giving it all the energy that it can use. So that way, when you are exercising, you are performing at your best.
Okay. And then a protein supplement or protein afterwards.
Some form of protein. So it could be a protein shake. It could be a nice lunch or dinner, whatever time of the day it is, and just help repair your body. It's just going to help reduce some of that soreness. So we could definitely talk about a little bit of detail about that. But I did want to mention also, what if somebody that does a lot of driving? I drive a lot and I'm not at home, and by the time I get home, I'm tired. What can I do? Going back to those isometric exercises, that is something that you could do while you're in the car, for example. So if you're at a stoplight, or if you're in the parking lot, for example, if you're a truck driver and you end up having to park your truck and you're waiting for the people to unload the truck. My brother, who is a truck driver, he does this all the time. He carries a jump rope with him.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
He would do a jump rope because he understands that sitting down for that long period of time can be a problem later on in life. Taking laps around the area that you're at, or working on those isometric exercises such as squeezing the stomach and releasing, holding it for 3 seconds. Think about tucking the belly button in and up and release. This is also help with the pelvic floor, which in both men and women can be very beneficial for like bladder and bowel movements later on in life. It can improve, like for men, prostate. For women, it just prolapse pelvis. So things like that is very beneficial. So if we can practice it, it becomes second nature, and also it prevents a lot of issues later on in life.
That's good. I'm glad you added that in there, because a lot of people do travel, and do a lot of driving, and get on 95 or wherever they're going, and being conscious of that. The opportunity to do those exercises to strengthen those muscles.
I agree.
Yeah, and save your back.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, even to those who travel a lot, know there's a lot of people, my parents included, who vacation a lot, and that's great. I love it. You guys are taking the time for yourselves, but make sure you isolate that time to work on your body. It's great that you're working on your mental and you're releasing the stress and the things like that, but we also got to make sure we focus on the physical. So whenever they go on a trip, especially when they're on the plane for a long period of time, I send them a resistance band. I tell them, go ahead and do these exercises, because just get the blood moving. You don't want to be in the plane sitting down too long, especially if you're used to moving around. This will just help with that as well, and it'll help you sleep too.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, because I don't think people think about that, because when they're sitting there, they're trying to think in their minds of relaxing and not doing anything.
And I mean, even if you're at the airport, and you're waiting, or if you're taking the Greyhound, I mean, hey, you walk up and down that station.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
just do little things like that. It can make a difference. So once again, that additional just 15 minutes of just that purposeful exercising or walking in your day-to-day lifestyle, just additional 15 minutes can add on a burn of 100 to 200 calories. And you want to realize how much that will add up.
Yeah, over the period of time. Yeah. And then too, I think one of the things too is being
Yes.
consistent, because as you were talking about, doing the exercises at home, if you do them one day and you don't do them the next day and don't do it, so it's still, even though you may not be going to the gym, is having an exercise regimen.
Absolutely. It's recommended 3 to 5 days a week of 30 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity, or 30 to 60 minutes of exercise. So that exercise, as we talked about before last time, is that purposeful planning versus the physical activity, which is just as beneficial. But once again, we're trying to make our actions purposeful and making sure we're trying to increase that heart rate.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know. So, okay, let's really quickly just highlight some things that you want to make sure, everything we need to remember, but anything that sort of just stands out in your mind that you just want to put a little bit of a topping on, just as a reminder, because I love the one that you just got through talking about the driving. But let me stop so you can go ahead and tell that before we run out of time.
Well, I mean, it really is. I just want to highlight to everybody is taking that time. It doesn't have to be the 50 minutes, the 30 minutes, the 60 minutes. It's just anything is better than nothing. We always want to increase our activity. It has a lot of benefits. And there has been studies that are showing the benefits of just adding in that purposeful movement on a day-to-day basis, the benefits that can have on the body. So if we can add that in, let's do it. So if you're able to, while you're driving, you're like, you know what, I remember hearing on the radio about squeeze my core in, and this is going to help with my posture. So especially in the long drives, we like to relax, we like to sit back in our cars, pull that chair up, sit up nice and tall. If you're at home and you're thinking about what can you do right now, well, just go ahead and get up, take a walk around the house, go outside the house, go to the mailbox, come on back, things like that. If you do that about 3 to 4 times a day, you're going to see some benefits. And we want to do that daily, being consistent. That is very key as well.
Being consistent. Absolutely. So we want everybody to take a deep breath now, and you're going to tell us how to squeeze out. Take a deep breath.
Right. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale in through your nose. You're going to squeeze the belly button in. So think as if you're pulling your belly button into your stomach. And then I want you to think about pulling your belly button up. And then you're going to hold that position. And how am I going to do this all day long? Just practice. So once again, if you consistently work on that, it's going to build endurance. So meaning it's going to be easier to perform this movement for a longer period of time. And the next you know, as soon as you start to sit up or as soon as you get in the car, you're automatically doing it.
All right, everybody, you've done your exercise for today. So if you're on Facebook or if you're driving in your car, do your exercise. So those are things that you can take with you. Again, thank you, Kiara, for being here with the wonderful. Again, I'm your host, Wendy Bridgers. We are here every Thursday from 3 to 3:30 on Awesome Radio 106.9 FM. Stay tuned and join us next week at the same time. Thank you again.
This is Glenn Coward. You're listening to 106.9 Awesome Radio.
Partial funding for this program is brought to you by Blessed